Did the judge in Prince Harry's visa application finally come to a decision? Some reports are saying so, but John Witherspoon says otherwise. Let's break it all down. Welcome to Popcorn Palace. I am Andy Signor. So excited to have John Witherspoon, attorney, with us. Thank you for being here. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you, Andy?
Good. It's been a little while. Glad to have you back. You're always keeping me in the loop on certain things, and I appreciate it. And I know Steph already broke this with you more realistically, and I didn't really want to go here, but I'm realizing a lot of people are talking about it, and we could get information soon. I thought it was important to make sure more people were aware of what's actually happening regarding this U.S. visa application, because I've seen it reported all over that multiple outlets saying that, yep, he's decided it, right? Here was the piece. The judge's decision, Judge Carl Nichols submitted his decision to a court in D.C. in a sealed document after spending 4 months reviewing his visa. Judge's decision could be made public in the coming days. Should it emerge that the Duke lied, his continued residence in the UA could be at risk. So everyone's sort of getting excited, but you sent the actual thing here. Here is what it is. On August 15th, a sealed ex-parte order was signed by Judge Carl Nichols. This document is sealed and only available to authorized personnel. What does this actually mean? Are people getting too excited out there, John?
Yeah, Andy, I think they actually are a little bit. And by the way, thanks for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity. The words that you just spoke, I think, are really important. Sealed ex parte order. Kind of take those in reverse order. The word order, this is, depending on how you want to count, this is either the third or the seventh time in this particular proceeding that the judge has issued an order of some sort. So I think that right there ought to indicate that this is not some momentous moment in the case that deserves a lot of hoopla and everything else. If this was a decision, I think we'd be seeing it in a different way. If he had said, for instance, hey, I'm not going to release this, he would want to explain his reasons and his rationale, because then the Heritage Foundation might want to take it to an appellate court, in which case they would need a decision with some textual context to rely on in terms of potentially affirming it or reversing it. So it's an order, as I said. What that basically means is that it is the judge giving an instruction to someone. We don't know who the someone is at this point. And
or I was going to just ask, what could that order typically be? What is your assumption on sort of possibilities of what the order is?
Well, it could be anything. It could be, and I mean, just as an example, and I just use this as an example, and I don't want to impugn any of the attorneys in this case, because they're all very impressive individuals, and you know, I don't want to have anybody run off and say, oh, well, John said that, you know, there must be something wrong with one of these attorneys. No, that's not the case at all. But an order could be, hey, the judge doesn't like something that one of the attorneys has done, or one side of the case has done. And an order might be to direct the attorneys to say, hey, stop doing that. You know, so it really runs the gamut. Anything that it's within the judge's purview to make an order about, it could be the subject of this particular order.
Could it be a decision though? Like, is it possible, like, or something that could lead quickly to a decision?
It's certainly something that could lead to a decision, and there are a number of factors that support that. For one thing, as you pointed out, the judge has had this case for about 4 months. The last docket entry was back in April, and the oral arguments were back in February, I believe, when I was sitting on the rock outside the courthouse talking about what had just transpired. But one of the theories about what could be happening, and I want to make it clear, this is just a possibility, and I've kicked the legal hive a little bit about this to try and get some other input from other lawyers. And the scenario that I'm about to mention, there was another attorney who I shared this with, and his immediate reaction was, no, absolutely not. That's not the case. In another instance, I talked to an attorney and they said, well, yeah, that's certainly a possibility. Um, it's possible that what the judge might have done would be to go to one side, uh, specifically Homeland Security, and say, look, I feel like that the contents of this file should be released unless there is something in there that is going to be potentially hazardous to diplomatic relations between the
Mhm.
United States and the UK. Could be a matter of national security. If this was a case about a nuclear submarine, for instance, which it's obviously not, but if it was, it might be something that the judge would go to some party and say, hey, I'm presuming that you don't want me talking about the top speed of this submarine. So let's just make sure we're all on the same wavelength about something like that. So that's a kind of thing that it could
So,
have
but
something to do with.
if we're worried about ramifications, then it could, in theory, be like, oh, there was something wrong on this. We need to sort of do something first before this can even potentially come out. Is that something that's possible?
Well, yes, it's
Because then
possible.
you'd get me excited. You said you weren't gonna. We were all overly excited. That's what we're all
Yeah,
hoping for, right? Is that there's something here. If this was just I looked through it. There's no big deal. This case is closed. Would he still be sealing orders?
probably not, unless again there's something really bizarre and mysterious about this. Again, that has something to do with like national security or some sort of
Well, it's
extreme
his
harm to.
security. Like he does have a right to his security. That right, but national security, no. I guess
Well, yeah,
if the
again,
Homeland Department is actually lying and covering up for Prince Harry, that could be national security, no?
yeah, it would be, but I want to make it clear that I find that very hard to believe that Homeland Security would be in some sort of conspiracy. And that's one thing that I think has sort of bothered me about this, is that there have been people who have written in newspaper articles that because this is a sealed order, that somehow that is indicative of something being swept under the rug, or the judge is on the take, or the theories have been endless, and I'm quite confident that that is not what is going on. It is not indicative that there's a two-tiered system of justice. I mean, all of that stuff is, I think, total bunk and totally outside the realm of possibility.
But
And the
you're saying
fact,
there's a chance.
well, no, I'm not saying that
I'm
there's a
kidding. I'm
chance
kidding.
that
I'm
there's.
kidding. I think that's what
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of us want, John. But I guess for what people really want is just like, what do you think's going to happen next? How much longer do we have to wait until we actually get something on this? Or do you think we never will get something? Final thoughts on sort of what's next?
Well, I do think that there will be something probably coming down the pipeline in terms of a decision saying either, no, I'm not going to grant this Freedom of Information Act request that was filed by the Heritage Foundation to see the contents of Prince Harry's visa application file. Or he's going to come back and say, yes, I've looked at this. Prince Harry effectively or constructively waived his right to privacy when he wrote that book. And the questions surrounding how this is being handled is a matter of legitimate public interest. It's not just a case of voyeurism where people are interested in digging into some celebrity's file to see what's going on in there. Or he may say, yeah, there's parts of this that I think are worth allowing the public to see, and there are parts of it that I don't think that the public should be able to see. That's probably my guess as to where this will end up. There will be some sort of information probably released, some information that he'll say, this is nobody's business. It's not relevant or germane to the disposition of this Freedom of Information Act request. And so I'm going to keep it redacted. I'm going to keep it hidden. But it has been 4 months, as I indicated.
Time.
That's probably a sufficient amount of time for him to have done whatever legal research that he wants to do.
And now
And
something is sealed, so we can hope that we'll get the news. And when we do, obviously, we'll keep you posted. And I was going to make sure I plugged you before we wrap out. You can check out John. He's finally on Instagram, Witherspoon DC. Go give him a follow as he begins to put content out there. And I appreciate coming in here. Please keep us updated. He always does. Loop Steph and I in. Support Steph the Alternate as well. when we get updates on this, we'll break it for you guys as soon as we do. And I got to thank you, sir, because you were out there outside that trial. It was fun when we had Heritage Foundation giving us that press conference. So keep us posted. Let's keep on it. We will give you the update as soon as we know. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's something. What do you guys think? Tell me down in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit the button, hit the bell, smash the thumbs up as well, and leave your thoughts down there. I want to hear them. Appreciate all you guys for watching. Thank you. And John, thank you all for being here. More is coming, so stay tuned.